Ever hear the expression, everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die? This is not quite true because I, for one, am an exception to this. You may have never heard anyone say this before, but here I go. I am afraid to die and go to heaven. Sometimes I think about this in bed at night, trying to go to sleep. Can't get there. Have to get up, go outside for a cigarette, maybe sit down at the computer and play some solitaire or something, watch some videos. And this is not a new feeling on my part. This feeling actually started with me when I was a young child. What age? I don't know. I think definitely preteen, maybe 8 to 10 years old. Had gone to Catholic school, learned all about heaven and hell, and I certainly knew that I did not want to go to hell for eternity because hell was very easy to imagine, the fire burning without end, the worm that never dies. Very frightening, scary story. Knew I did not want to go to hell. But I seemed to have a strange insight for a child that young. Heaven was even harder to imagine. I knew the story: life eternal, always happy, no stress, no pain, be with God. However, something in my brain said that this view of heaven would be boring. The same thing day after day for eternity. I could not articulate what I'm about to say as a child, but somehow I knew. War tells us what peace is. Death tells us what life is. Effort tells us what success is. Loneliness tells us how union matters to us. When there is no need to prosper, no need to work for happiness, there is no happiness. And a good illustration of this, I don't know if my listeners are old enough to remember the Twilight Zone, but they had a episode 28, called A Nice Place to Visit. First aired on April 15th, 1960. And I would have been 4 years old, so I can't believe I saw it when it originally aired, but I did see it at one time. And in this episode, a criminal, Henry Rocky Valentine, dies and wakes up in what he believes is heaven, where all his desires are immediately granted by a man named Pip. However, the endless pleasures soon become a source of torment, leading Rocky to ask to go to the other place, only for Pip to reveal that this heaven has been hell all along. Now, I did a search at YouTube, and you can find some clips there from this episode. But the Twilight Zone started as a radio show, and they did this whole story for the radio, and they do have that on YouTube, so you can sit down and listen to the radio broadcast of the episode. Then I became a microeconomist, and it gave me a lot better way to explain my feelings about this, and that's the concept of diminishing marginal utility. As you consume more, the marginal utility decreases and eventually becomes negative. An example of this be, you go to a movie, you really like the movie, so then you watch it a second time. You like the movie, you enjoyed watching it the second time. And the third time, okay, maybe I got something out of it. The fourth time, the fifth time, the 10th time. And eventually you can no longer stand to watch that movie. Now, maybe after time passes, you want to reminisce, you might enjoy it again. But that's all we mean about diminishing marginal utility. You get less and less satisfaction the more you consume of it. And it actually can become negative, that doing it more makes you worse off. It's kind of the economic explanation of what happened in the Twilight Zone episode. And for me, I just can't comprehend how there wouldn't be diminishing marginal utility in heaven. Yeah, you show up there the first day, it's all wonderful, glorious, but the next day is the same, the same, the same. And if you can't have the bad, how can you appreciate the good? So, how do I try to handle this as an Orthodox Christian? Christ tells us we need to be like children when it comes to the faith. Do not overthink it. For me, I thought about this as a kid, and so I'd really have to go back further to try to figure out this childlike state. So, one way I have to handle it is just try to ignore it, keep my mind off the whole concept. Just accept that this is the way it is, and we'll find out when we get there. And I don't do it enough, but every Christian knows the answer to this is prayer. I should pray more when I have these thoughts. And a very simple prayer: Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me, a sinner. We call in Orthodoxy the Jesus prayer. And if you found this little confession of mine, or whatever you want to call it, interesting, I do have a request. Yes, I'd like you to hit the subscribe button down below, give the videos a thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. But that's not the request I really want. In the comment section, I'd really like to hear how you envision heaven. What do you think it will be like? How is it possible that we'll be constantly happy there? And I know we'll be in the presence of God. And the only thing I can come up with, well, once we're in heaven, maybe we've eliminated our passions, so we don't have those desires anymore. So while you're in heaven, you don't have that feeling of what else you're missing. That could be, but as I said, I'd be very interested and very appreciative that my listeners kind of help me through this. So I look forward to hearing it. And thank you for listening, and have yourself a blessed day.